Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into something that so many of us deal with, and honestly, it can be pretty scary: sudden hair fall. We're going to break down why it's happening and what you can actually do about it, all based on someone's real journey. So, let's just get right to it. Have you had that moment? You're in the shower, you look at your hands, and there's just way more hair than you're comfortable with. If that gives you that little pit in your stomach, you are so not alone. It's a huge concern for a lot of us, men and women, especially as we get a little older.
And that's why this is so great. All the advice we're talking about today comes from somebody who was right there in the thick of it. She had really severe hair fall, she did all the research, and she figured out what actually works. So let's dive in.
Okay, first things first. Before we can fix anything, we have to understand the why. Why does this sudden hair fall even start?
It usually comes down to one of these four main things. We're talking about hormonal shifts, the stuff happening inside our bodies. Then there's what we're eating, or maybe what we're not eating. Also, the sheer mountain of products we're told to buy. And finally, some of those styling treatments that might look good for a night but do a ton of damage. So, hormones are a huge one. Think about the big moments in life: puberty, pregnancy, or even just periods of crazy high stress. Our hormones go completely haywire. Our source, for example, had intense hair fall after having her baby. See, what happens is your hair's growth cycle kind of pauses during pregnancy, and then afterwards, boom, it all kicks back into gear at once, and it feels like you're losing everything. It's totally overwhelming.
Next up is what we're putting in our bodies. I mean, let's be real. Life is busy. It's so easy to grab whatever's fast instead of what's good for us. And when we do that, we can end up missing out on crucial vitamins like B12 and D, which are basically fuel for healthy hair. Without them, your hair just doesn't have what it needs to grow strong.
Oh, and this gets all of us. Product overload. We are just bombarded 24/7 with ads showing this perfect, flowing movie star hair. And we think, I want that. So we buy product after product, but a lot of them are loaded with chemicals that just build up on our scalp and cause way more harm than good in the long run. And finally, the big one: styling damage. Our source used to work in a salon, so she saw this up close. Things like chemical straightening. They use these incredibly harsh chemicals that literally break down the natural structure of your hair. They destroy its elasticity and just weaken the whole thing, right from the root. It's a surefire recipe for major hair fall.
Okay, so now that we've kind of looked at all the bad news, what's the good news? What on earth is the solution? But wait, before we jump into the fixes, let's set a realistic goal here. It's totally natural to lose some hair every day. We can't stop that process entirely. The real goal, the game changer, is to kickstart so much new, healthy growth that it completely outpaces the hair you're naturally shedding. That's how you get that fuller look back.
All right, now for the good stuff. Here's the action plan. The real, practical things you can do to start nurturing your hair. I love this slide because it just lays it all out. On one side, you've got all the chemical experiments we put our hair through, and on the other, you have these simple, powerful, natural remedies. Our source is a huge believer in this. She says things like egg whites or aloe vera work better than most store-bought conditioners, and they do it without causing any damage. Now, I know what you might be thinking: onion juice on my head? But trust me, this is the remedy she absolutely swears by, especially for getting new hair to grow. It's packed with sulfur, which is amazing for circulation in your scalp. You just get the juice, put it right on your scalp. Leaving it overnight is best if you can handle it, and then wash it out. Do that once or twice a week, and it can make a world of difference. And here are a few other quick, easy tips. Ditch the harsh shampoo for a mild or herbal one. Super important. Only put conditioner on the strands of your hair, never on your scalp where it can clog things up. Got dandruff? Try some lemon or aloe. And if your tap water is really hard, doing a final rinse with some bottled mineral water can stop all those minerals from building up. To really understand how big of a deal this is, you gotta hear our source's personal story about how she finally broke free from that chemical cycle. Just let that sink in for a second. 7 years. She was completely trapped. Once you start chemically straightening your hair, you're stuck. As soon as your natural roots grow in, you have to go back and do it all over again. It's an endless, expensive, and damaging cycle. So what was the turning point? Her pregnancy. The hormonal shifts and the crazy hair fall that came after made her hair so fragile that she just couldn't do the treatments anymore. It literally forced her to stop. She had to cut her long hair off and finally break that cycle. And this is the biggest lesson she learned from it all. Yeah, the treatments give you a temporary look, but the long-term results, in her own words, they're terrible. Her advice is so simple but so powerful. Just learn to love yourself and the hair you were actually born with. Okay, so after all of that, what's the single most important thing to take away from this entire guide?
It all comes down to these two words, patience and consistency. This stuff is not a magic one-time fix. Trying a hair mask once isn't going to do it. Our source says that even now, 3 years later, she is still regularly using these natural remedies. That's what it takes. That dedication is what gets you the results and helps you keep them.
I'm just going to let this quote sit there because it perfectly captures the whole idea, right? The damage didn't happen overnight, so the healing process won't either. It's a journey. It takes time and it takes believing in what you're doing.
And that brings us to the end. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What's just one small, natural change you could commit to for your hair's future, starting today? Thanks for tuning in.